Morning, Brendan.
Very good morning.
Rob, do you want to lead us off?
Yeah, if everybody's ready.
Morning.
Good stuff. Brendan, good to see you. Can I talk to you about Jamie Vardy first? I know you've spoken a little bit about him, but it's such a special milestone. And it's a pretty exclusive club he's joined. Now that you reflect on it, what do you make of what he's achieved?
To be honest, Rob, I wasn't fully aware of actually how late he came into the Premier League. You know, you think at 27, playing your first game, and then a number of months later getting your first goal. So if you think of the players that he's joined and probably look at the careers that they've had before Jamie entered the Premier League, it just makes it even more astounding, really. But he's absolutely natural in his appetite for the game. He always wants to improve, and I think to get over 100 goals now at this stage of his career, and it's an incredible achievement, and I think that he deserves all the accolades he gets. But knowing him now as well as I do, I know that he won't rest on it. He's very, very motivated to continue.
Peter Crouch made that point. He tweeted to say congratulations and added he wondered how many goals he might have got if he'd come through a traditional professional academy. I mean, what do you make of that? Has he lost his time? And you've said that actually, yes, he's lost some time, but you think he's got more hours on his legs than perhaps he would have done if he'd come into the professional game early as well. So,
yeah, no, listen, every path is different, you know, and Jamie's path and what got him to the Premier League was right for him. It's just remarkable that what he has achieved since he's became a professional player. You know, having played in non-league and been rejected as a young player. But I think it's a unique story. He's such an exciting player, and not just for myself to work with, but I think there's very, very few players that, when they make the movement that he made for his second goal at the weekend, it's just an absolute joy to see that movement and that pace that takes him away. It absolutely brightens the life out of people. And obviously, I've been involved with games with Jamie where you've been away from home, and when that midfield makes the pass and he's away, you just sense from the home crowd that fear. And there's not too many players in the world that give you that. But because of his speed and how deadly he is, it's just an incredible talent that he has. And like I said all along, I'm very fortunate to have someone like that in my team that can score the goals that he does. And he's a brilliant player.
We've talked a lot about the likes of Raheem Sterling and Marcus Rashford being fantastic role models on some of the issues that they're speaking out on and that they represent. And just because of their background and where they've come from very often as well, to where they've achieved. And I wonder whether you see Jamie Vardy as similar to that. This is a guy who was working in a factory playing non-league football. Now look what all that he's achieved. You know, that's got to be an example to young people out there as well, hasn't it? If they really want to try and strive to achieve.
Yeah, and he didn't have the perfect life at all. It was, you know, there were struggles in his teens, and then obviously he's leaving school and everything else. He, you know, everyone knows he's a little rascal at times, but just that persistence and the resilience to keep going, and obviously coming into professional football as well, that wasn't easy for him. You know, I'm fully aware of that. In the first year, there was difficult moments here for him because there's a lot of structure, you know, you had to be really professional, and from where he'd come from, that was obviously a big change for him. But his path, it's like there are many pathways for a player. His, like you say, like Raheem's and Marcus, it's different, but it's also very inspirational as well. And I think that there's many young players throughout the country will draw inspiration from him for sure.
Last one on Vardy, if that's okay. I mean, before your time, but we were all very aware that he had an offer on the table to go to Arsenal a few years back, and he turned it down because he loves this football club and decided to stay here. we've pestered you a lot, and we will pester you throughout the rest of the summer about Leicester's talented youngsters and the fact that they're on the radar of other big clubs. I wonder whether the fact that Vardy stayed and wanted to stay can help give that message to some of other Leicester's young talent to say, look, do you know what? Leicester can match your ambitions here.
Yeah, I think, again, it's always down to the individual, Rob. It's, Jamie's case back then, it was different. He had the opportunity to go, but for probably a number of reasons, football and family, he felt it was the best thing to stay here. And like I say, he is and will have the iconic status at the club for when he does finish up eventually. So, but every player is different. The careers are so short. We will always look to provide an environment here, that will develop a player. That will always be the solution for us. We don't have the riches of a number of the clubs at the top end. However, our solution will always be to bring a player, develop and improve him, and that's what our objective will always be. So yeah, it will be whatever the player wants, but of course, in conjunction with the club.
Good man, thank you. Ryan Bennett made his Leicester debut when you switched to three at the back. Did pretty well as well. What future for him though? Obviously, he's on loan for the remainder of this season. Are you keen to keep him beyond that? What are your thoughts and plans beyond that?
Well, I think the role that what we wanted to bring in a centre half that could come in and offer us cover for us and could fit into the way how we would work. And I've known about Ryan. I tried to sign Ryan for Swansea City when I was manager there. So I've known him for a long time, seen the great job he did for Wolves and took the opportunity to take him. So he obviously, we gave him clarity on what that role would be. He obviously hasn't been able to feature at all, but he's trained so hard. He's so professional. He's a good guy. And I always knew that if the time would come for him to come in, he would be ready. And he came in and done very, very well. He knows the position well, having played it for a few years there at Wolves. So that adjustment obviously made it easier. But he's got great game intelligence. I said when he came in, he's a warrior as well, and we needed him because Crystal Palace were a big team. But he's very dominant in the air. He passes the ball well. And he's a good communicator. So yeah, we'll see how that looks at the end of the season. But happy for him to get a really good performance.
Good man. Let me ask you about Arsenal. Off the back of a fantastic win for you and one that you needed, and I think it's been coming. Let's be honest. I think in some of the performances you've said yourself that it has been coming. But Arsenal are in transition a little bit. I think looking from the outside, we see some pretty strong elements of what Mikel Arteta is trying to achieve, but they're perhaps understandably a little bit inconsistent with great performances and then some poor results. What do you make of them?
I think Mikel's done very, very well since he's gone in. One, he's gone into a club with a huge expectation, which he knows from being a player there. But he's gone in on his first job into a huge task, and I think how he's dealt with it so far has been outstanding. He's gone in from a tactical perspective. He's made it very clear how they want to play. Style you can see, and that's not an easy style to put in place and to implement, especially at a club that is wanting to be challenging straight away as well. But I think his courage since he's gone in to want to develop that. And they played out of a couple of different systems, but the styles always remained the same. And that's something that will bode well for them in the future and for him. So I think he's done very, very well. Got the team very well organised. They look to play how Arsenal supporters would want them to play. Because it's not just about winning, you have to win in a certain style. And I think he's made some really, really good steps in this early part of his time there. So yeah, they've on the back of 3 good results after the Brighton game. So we'll look forward to that challenge. But I think from his perspective, he's done very well.
Top man, thank you. Last one from me. Team news, anybody struggling?
Yeah, but we get doubts over James Maddison and Ben Chilwell. They'll be the two that could struggle. But we'll see how that is today.
And Maddison, obviously, is his hip. You haven't got any. What's the prognosis for both of them? Is it just short term for both of them? They've got a chance, have they?
Yeah. Well, we just have to wait and see. I think there's big doubts over both. Ben's is his plantar fascia is the bottom of his foot, which is giving him pain. So yeah, but we just have to assess that and see what the specialists say on it. So you can play through it, but of course there's time you get a real bad pain in it. So it's just trying to manage that and see where it's at. But there'll be both big doubts for the game, but we will see and give them every chance.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate it.
Cheers. Thank you.
Okay, Andy Sixsmith for PLP, please.
Morning, Brendan. Just one very, very quick one on Jamie, because you've spoken a lot about him in the last 48, 72 hours or so. 2 goals in 10 games in 2020, only 2 wins for Leicester in that time. How conducive has he become, or has always been, to Leicester City's success, in particular, for the latter stages of this season?
Listen, our team is very much a collective. There's no doubt about that. But of course, he plays a very, very important role for us at the top of the pitch. So yeah, no, I think it's one where the responsibility, I've always said, is with our team to score the goals. We haven't been as creative or as intense as what I would have liked, but certainly the game at the weekend gives us a huge confidence boost, because I think our intensity was really good. We were fighting for every ball. We know how tough Crystal Palace can be to break down, and we eventually got there. And then by the end of the game, and certainly in the second half, I think we showed our fitness level, and Jamie showed his quality, and the team showed their resilience and fight. So we're hoping that bodes well now for us for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, just on Saturday, how important, or how much was that just about getting that elusive first win since the restart, rather than the performance, just to kickstart some momentum again for the club?
Yeah, it was important, but I have to stress, it always has to be about performance. Of course, at the end of the game, if you've won the game like we did, and you maybe haven't been at your fluent best, okay, you accept that.
Yeah.
But I felt we've been down on our luck in a few of the games, like the Everton game. The penalty was harsh on us. I felt we conceded against Watford, so I felt that the win was coming, even though we hadn't been playing so well. But we knew we had to improve. But no, the confidence that it gives you, that's huge. You know, we would like to see the players smile, and of course, when they're not winning, then it can become difficult. So, but no, I was pleased for the win, and like I said, there's lots of elements of the performance where the players fought for every ball, and eventually they got that little bit of luck in the end as well.
Just looking at the overall context of the league, I don't think I've ever seen the Premier League more competitive for European fixtures. The resurgence of Manchester United and Chelsea, Wolves, Sheffield United having absolutely superb seasons. How satisfied are you with how your Leicester City side have adapted to almost being the hunted in third, rather than the hunters hunting down those European spots?
Well, what the players have done up until this point has been remarkable. You know, I think that's something that I'm pretty clear on that, and getting the perspective of it all. You know, if you think of the 2 teams in front of us, you know, 2 of the greatest teams that the Premier League have produced, you know, and for us to be second in the league from a defensive perspective, and the 3rd highest goal scorers in the league. So to be producing that level of consistency, and of course we've had a little bump in the last few months, which is absolutely natural for a very, very young squad. But I think for us to be in the position we're in, the players have been brilliant up until this point, and we look now to the next game to bring that performance. And like you say, the league is so competitive, and not just with, like you say, the so-called top clubs. Clubs like Wolves and Everton and teams like that, big clubs themselves. So it's so competitive, and for us to be in amongst it. It shows the level of performance and how well the guys have done all season.
Just a couple of final ones from me on Arsenal tomorrow night. Under Arteta, I know you've talked about the job that he's done at Arsenal. How different are Arsenal a prospect under Arteta compared to Unai Emery earlier on in the season?
Well, no, listen, Unai got some good results as well. But when I assess the team and analyse the team, then I think there's real clarity in how they work and how they play. And they've got big expectation at Arsenal. They've got some outstanding players who are dangerous players, and we know that, and we've seen in the recent results. So no, I think he's done an excellent job. It'll be a really difficult game for us, but that's the challenge, and that's what we're really looking forward to.
And just one final one from me. You mentioned special players at Arsenal. Probably Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is the pick of the bunch. Will Jamie have had a few motivational words with the likes of Johnny Evans, Kaglar Soonshu about keeping him quiet, bearing in mind the Golden Boot race this season?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Thanks, Brendan. Cheers.
Thanks, Andy.
Thank you. A couple from James at TalkSport, please.
Morning, Brendan.
Hi, James.
Brendan, you swapped your formation at the weekend. You went to 3 at the back, and it seemed to work out really well for you. Is that the way you see this side moving forward for the last 5 games of the season?
Well, no, I think I've always liked my teams to play out of different systems, and style will always be the same. What was important for me was that we got back some creativity and some aggression in our attacking structure, and I felt that, especially since we'd come back, and having maybe the players out that we've also got out as well, I needed to look at something different to bring more creativity back into the team again. And so that was the reason for it. We hadn't been creating so much, with all due respect, in the other games, and our philosophy is to attack and be aggressive in our game. So that definitely helped us. And yeah, but it's each game you see what you have to look at the opponent as well. But certainly it was much better from us at the weekend.
Is it going to be easy for this side to make that change between formations, whether it be between matches or even within the games as well?
Yeah, it's something that we train. It's something that we look at, and we've done numerous times this season, depending on the opponent. You know, you're obviously analysing the opposition. You know, if a team sits deeper and they're sat in that sort of low position, then there's a certain structure that can help you break through that quicker than another structure. But that's something that we've always looked at within the squad, having the flexibility to be able to do that. And yeah, the players now adapted to that very well. And like you've seen at the weekend, they played out the system very well.
Jose Perez has told TalkSport that the last 5 matches this season are going to be like finals. Is that the way you're seeing these games? Yeah,
no doubt. They're big games for us, of course, and hopefully we can finish them off. But we'll not get too emotional on them. Of course, we know where we want to finish, and that will be our measure we'll look at the end of the season. But the focus really is on the next game. But every game is huge from now on in, and yeah, we have to fight for the result.
And just final question from me. Kelechi Iheanacho scored in back-to-back Premier League games now. How happy are you with your forward options? And with Iheanacho scoring like that and maybe going on a run, would that maybe change your transfer plans this summer? Because we've seen the likes of United, they've got 3 strikers now, potentially 4 when you add in Agallo. Do you feel like you have enough options there?
Well, again, something that we look at, you know, going forward. I think Kelechi's done absolutely brilliant in my time here. You know, when I come in, he was, young player that needed confidence, but as he's gained the confidence of the players and the supporters here, you've seen his strength. You know, he can score goals. He's still got more to improve on, but he's a great lad who trains every day, loves his football, and he's a real threat every time he plays. So yeah, we'll look at the squad. We are looking currently, and obviously, of course, at the end of the season, we will be also, because each year and each season you want to improve. But at the moment, the focus is purely on the players that we have.
Thank you, Brendan.
Thanks, James.
Thank you, James. Ian Stringer, please.
Apologies, Brendan. I would love to pick you up on Jamie Vardy, the little rascal. How do you, as you just called him, your words, and I think most people would agree, particularly Alan Birchnell, MBE, how do you manage a little rascal that is probably the greatest player in the club's history, famously turned up at training in a Spider-Man outfit before your time to inject a bit of humour? How do you manage him, and do you manage him any differently given his quirky character?
No, he's actually very, very easy to manage, I've got to say. I love his spirit. You know, he's got an incredible spirit that you never ever want to kill. He's got great enthusiasm. You know, he comes in every day with a great smile. He loves football. He's out on the training pitch. He's really enjoying his work. He's obviously very settled and as a father and has a great life outside of football as well. So no, I've probably got him when he's tamed himself a little bit, to be fair. I think probably in those early 20s and whatever, he was a bit more of a handful, I'm sure, in the non-league level. But certainly, I can only talk from my experience now, and he's a great lad who's got a great passion and a great love for the club, and like I say, he's absolutely, I say a little rascal. That's probably a reference to his years ago, but certainly now he's absolutely a joy to manage.
I think we all appreciate the sentiment in which you say it and said it, Brendan, and knowing the players as we do, can absolutely concur. Jamie's dominating the headlines, of course, but two real stars of your side, in my view, I'd love to speak to you briefly about are Johnny Evans and Charles Soyuncu. Unless you can correct me, I believe Charles Soyuncu has missed one game this season. I think it was the rotation at West Ham United away. And I believe Johnny Evans has played in every Premier League game so far this term, including the restart. Quietly going about their business, but not affected by fatigue, seemingly, or the mental stress. I wonder what tribute you could pay for your two centre-halves and how important they've been to build your side around this season.
Well, I think any good team needs two strong, dominant centre-halves. Johnny, it's well documented what my thoughts are on him. You know, he's virtually, he is top level. You know, he's had a great career at Manchester United, come away from that. But I've always known his ability, but actually been able to work with him up close to see his professionalism, to see his focus on the game, to see his level of performance, how calm and assured he is. You know, he's a top player and he carries that every single day in and around the training ground and on the pitch. And I think he's been absolutely instrumental in Cags settling into the Premier League how he has, because you know, if you watch the two of them, Johnny's constantly talking to him, coaching him on the field, pushing him up when he's too deep, filling gaps when a young, experienced centre half maybe gets pulled out a bit. So he's actually been everything what Cags needed coming into the Premier League. It'd have been a different season for him if he didn't have someone of that quality playing beside him. But Cags in himself as well, he was fourth choice when I came here. He continued to train and work, and then when he got the opportunity, when Harry moved on, he's taken it with both hands. And you know, he's, for someone so young, he's so mature. He's such a warrior. And both of them are that. You know, both of them, you see, they make their headers. They're very aggressive in the box. They want to defend forward, which is my type. And when the ball gets in behind, they've got that speed to also cover as well. So now both of them are, obviously, I always say fundamentally, to attack well, you have to defend well, and the defending, of course, is collective. However, when you have centre halves like that, then they obviously really, really give the team confidence.
The run-in's hotting up, Brendan. You've spoken about it briefly already and mentioned to my colleagues that there's going to be 5 finals. How many points do you need to get a Champions League place in your view?
I'm not sure, Ian. I think let's just see where we finish up. We go into every game now to win. That's our objective, and let's see where it takes us. It's difficult to forecast, isn't it? I've always said that. Our concentration is on ourselves. Can we bring the right performances? Can we have that spirit and that fight that we showed at the weekend, and really take that into the games, even though they're coming thick and fast, which they've done since we've come back. We've got a strong mentality, and we'll look to demonstrate that in each of the games, and then let's see where we finish.
Can you do it?
But there's absolutely no doubt. I think we've shown over 33 games now our talent, and we're maybe missing some players that have helped us along that way, but as a squad, we're very focused on achieving it, and we will fight to the very, very last whistle to finish as high as we possibly can.
I know time's getting on, Brendan. If you'll allow me a final question, I'd appreciate it. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has said that he doesn't see the difference between Leicester and Manchester United being 3 points either way come the last game of the season. Leicester take on Manchester United. If it is all on a Champions League place, that'd be tasty. Would you take that right now, or are you confident you can get the job done before then?
No, listen, we'll see where we're at. Like I said at the end, and there's 4 games to play before that, and our focus is really on the next game. I know you need to build it up. I know you need to get the emotion into it, but but for us, we have to stay in this period when it's critical. Just really focus on the next game, and then, like I say, hopefully by the end of the season, we've all achieved the objective and the dream. And but long way to go before then.
Good luck tomorrow, Brendan. Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks, Ian.
Thanks, folks. That'll be the broadcast section there. So we'll carry on for the dailies for 10 minutes.